I will give Bitcoin credit, right? We've seen the dollar continue to ratchet up day after day after day, and Bitcoin was just going sideways. So you could actually say, okay, Bitcoin was holding up. But I look at today's up move in the dollar as potentially the straw that broke the camel's back with Bitcoin.
Hey guys, welcome back to Library of Wealth. Today we have Gareth Soloway giving us his Bitcoin price prediction for the current cycle. Soloway believes that Bitcoin will fall below $20,000 before the midterm. He also discusses how the Federal Reserve had been artificially pumping the stock markets through excessive money printing, but that since the US government can no longer print money to support the economy, there will be a correction. Gareth Soloway explains it's important to follow the trend line and not to listen to fear in the market. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy what we do here on this channel. Let's get right into the video.
It's just so much pressure from a rising dollar and risk assets. I mean, we've seen the stock market rolling over, and Bitcoin for the last 10 days or so has just gone sideways. So it was almost inevitable if the dollar was going to keep going up, that at some point we were going to break down here. And you can see a nasty red candle here. Now we do have potential support coming in around 17.5. That's going to be a big level. That's the June low. But my guess is that could be where we're headed at this point. But again, I was optimistic the last few days, looking at Bitcoin holding up and holding up for multiple days. And today's kind of like the wind coming out of the sails, if you will. So I do think there's a chance of a flush. And I think the key here is understanding there's a few different things that are mixing. Now, if we take out the 17.5-ish low here, there's not a lot of support until you get down to 13 to 12,000, which is my high-end target for Bitcoin. And the kicker here is we have to remember there's still 150,000 Bitcoin, I think, that from Mt. Gox that could be unloaded at any one time. That's a lot of Bitcoin, especially when you're at these lower prices for pressure. In addition, I think you have to be very aware that at some point we're going to get news from the judge in the Ripple case. How is Gary Gensler going to say that, all these other coins are securities? What rules do they have to kind of abide by? And I think all of these combined with a strong dollar leave Bitcoin and other cryptos very vulnerable to kind of one of those bigger quick flushes that could take us down to that level. So I do think that level is a huge bounce opportunity. I don't know if we'll get there before we get down to, we get the Fed coming in here in late September, but I think it is a possibility.
It's rather surprising to some that Soloway would put his price target so far under the $20,000 mark. He goes on to say that we've never been in a crypto period where the Fed has been hiking rates this frequently, and for Bitcoin, this is uncharted territory.
So I think there's still that potential that you could see some upside in Ethereum in the near term. And interestingly enough, the chart has a potential breakout here just above this downsloping trend line. So you can see that and by the way, this is really interesting because what we've seen in Bitcoin is that the low from basically 10 days ago was already breached. But you can clearly see that Ethereum has actually moved above this trend line and is well off of these lows. So to me, I look at that as a short-term relative strength indicator versus Bitcoin specifically. So I think that, again, there's a lot of hype. I think what Ethereum is doing is awesome. I think it's the right move here. And I think ultimately that in the near term, you could see some price pressure to the upside, maybe even retesting the near highs here of 2,000 on Ethereum. I think the immediate reaction is a sigh of relief, right? Okay, it's done. It's gone smoothly. You'll probably see a pop to the upside. And again, I'm hopeful that that happens because I think crypto has taken so many punches over the last few months. I mean, even what happened with Michael Saylor and the taxes and all that stuff, it's just one more thing that makes people kind of like, oh, what's this crypto? Is it kind of shady? What's going on? So I'm really hopeful this goes smoothly. If it does, you get a short-term relief rally to the upside. Maybe that 2,000 handle would be where it goes. In fact, the 200 moving average is just above that double top high there. So that would also be a general target. Then after that, I think eyes turn back to the general crypto market, to regulation, and to overall risk assets. And I think that's where it could be. So you could get this short-term relief, but then just be careful beyond that if the whole risk market starts to come in. If you look at the permeation in crypto of Ethereum and how many things are built on it, I mean, it's essentially the Apple of crypto. Now, I think you look at Bitcoin, and to me, I'm like, okay, Bitcoin is gold, and now Apple or Microsoft would be Ethereum. And I do think there's a lot of upside here down the line. So I am optimistic that it does have a shot of it. Any sort of hiccups, and you have Ethereum, the biggest alt, if you will, of the group, if they're having issues, what hope do other players have or other
Yeah.
coins have to have something smooth? And I do think it's all about, at this point, perception in the crypto market. And if things go wrong with the ETH merge, I think that's a problem. And by the way, I think that's why the merge has been delayed, and kind of because they
sure.
know that everything is riding on this merge. I think the merge going smoothly can create more downside in Bitcoin, or Bitcoin downside can occur. And then I think that Ethereum can retrace maybe back to a double bottom. It has a small chance of holding that, but I do think that this is now potentially something that can help Ethereum hold up better than Bitcoin. So I'd be in the camp of thinking that, we're so far off that double bottom, which was around $880 on Ethereum. I think that it's very possible that could be, when Bitcoin hits 12 to 13,000, that could be where Ethereum goes back to. I think you start expecting the next bull run when we get in a situation where things have gotten bad in the economy to the point where the Fed could potentially start printing again, or stimulus from the government. That will be the turning point. And again, I don't know if that's, 2023, 2024, but that's where I would say that's the turning point. But I honestly don't think the lows are in yet on Bitcoin. I still think 12, 13,000 at minimum, that's where we're headed, just because of the macro structure and all the other issues out there. But I think that, again, you'll see what we usually see is that the final flush will be a quick drop, but then you'll get a little bounce and a lot of sideways chop where you see bulls and bears kind of fighting it out. People say, oh, Bitcoin not going to be anything. Oh, and then you have other people saying Bitcoin's a great buy here. And you could see that, by the way, back in 2018. We saw a long period of just sideways chop before the next bull market started up. So I kind of expect the same thing. If you look back at 2009, you did see kind of a consistent grind higher, but it wasn't like a shooting star right back to the upside. My guess is if we get down to 12,000 on Bitcoin, Ethereum probably gets back towards that 800 to 900 lows. One thing to keep in mind is that's actually bullish for Ethereum, right? I mean, if you have Bitcoin dropping, 50% more from where it was, and then you have Ethereum only retesting its double bottom, that's actually very bullish for Ethereum.
Gareth Soloway believes that the recession is soon to follow in 2022, and to keep an eye on Bitcoin. This is important for all crypto investors and traders not to fall into impulse actions when a bear market crash hits. Soloway says that entering the market without an exit strategy and taking on debt without fully comprehending the possibility of being liquidated is a recipe for a massive hit to your portfolio. What do you think about Soloway's price prediction for Bitcoin? Comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Library of Wealth. We'll see you in the next video.